a warm tube, and in -40 to -15, the warm tube is what you want. I apparently woke up the monster. I walked around, get comfy again. Welcome to the Northern Knits Podcast. We are two friends in fiber who knit, crochet, craft, and talk everything in between. My name is Jocelyn, and my co-host is
Diana.
This is episode 203. I'm coming to you from the cold province of Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Diana is coming from the cold Waterloo, Ontario.
It's not even snowy. We're snowy. It's not cold. -8 is not cold.
I think when was it, like middle of last week, from like the prairies all the way out to the east coast was pretty much a deep chill, like -20 or more.
It's been the coldest it has been, but given that my reference for this time of year is like -30 for a high, I'm like, oh no, the overnight low is -21 with a wind chill. Oh gosh, it's so cold.
I'm in the middle of a sweater off and I almost cast on a cowl this week. That is how good my focus has been.
Ooh.
I'm not going to hand Louise victory that easily. She's still probably going to win. It's fine.
I mean, you did pick like basically a sweater with a train, kind of.
I picked a tunic length sweater. It's
like
bulky. It's bulky.
You did not pick an insignificant. You picked a long sweater with lace parts. So
sweater I would wear.
I know you've been talking about it for ages, so I'm not surprised you picked it.
It's been on my wish list for what, months and months now.
Yeah. So I'm not at all surprised, but you know, if you wanted to assure victory, it was perhaps not the wisest choice.
This was not the sweater to pick. So it's fine. It's fine. I did it to myself. It is a thing. Oh well. Do we want to let people know what we're gonna cover this week? Maybe.
Oh yeah. Now that we're like right into now that we've already tangented,
side railed, sidebarred, gone off the rail. Guys, listen, we're not even in the ballpark anymore. I don't know what we're doing.
No.
The parking lot, 2 blocks over. It's done. Late on a Sunday evening, heavens only knows what you're going to get out of me.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we're covering, maybe, What's in Our Cup, Cool Threads, Woolly Workings, Wool Gathering, and Kniterature. I still want to say Yarn on the Go. Gosh.
It's because it was been such a part of our life for the first 3 years of a podcast we did weekly. It's been a thing, and it will be again. We got to wait till it's safe for it to be a thing. And to be fair, we did have Yarn on the Go when I went out to my parents and then when I came home from my parents.
Yeah, I haven't done Yarn on the Go. The last time I goed? The last time I goed was when I came here, and I don't think I knit anything because it was just drive for 8 hours, phone everybody, assure them of my safety, and then collapse into bed. Oh, and eat somewhere in there.
Yeah, I think you were like, everyone has been checking it every day. You looked at me and I was like, yeah, just text me when you get there. It's fine.
Yeah.
I suppose we'll start with what's in our cup.
Mm-hmm.
I have
get so much of my own hair woven into this yarn already. Goodness. Okay.
An aesthetic detail?
It's got a little piece of me in it.
Sure. That's how we know you love us.
I mean, this thing is for me, so I don't know. I don't know why I'm bothering. I know I love me. I love me very much.
Self-care is important.
Yeah.
This is a thing. But that's okay. I have so much of my own hair knit into sweaters. It's not even funny. I'm constantly pulling it out going, really? I don't even have Diana here. What is this? I am drinking some turmeric ginger tea from the Celestial. I never know how to pronounce it. Brand, mostly because I had a very, very, very spicy deer sausage for dinner. Oh, my face may fall off.
It did seem like a bit of a challenge.
Oh, it was so good. It burnt so bad. Oh, where's your husband when I need him to eat spicy meat? Where is he? Wrong province. That's where he is.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
In my cup, I found a giant besweatered cup
Ooh, look at
while
that.
unpacking today. Um, so I decided to put some s'more. I think it was s'mores chai
Yeah.
in my cup. So it's
That's
a
more.
pu'er tea, and it is a little bit sweet, and it mostly just fills the entire room with a pleasant aroma of hazelnut and chocolate.
Excellent. A super important question. Did I hit the record button?
Yes, there's a little recordy light there.
It's a very important question to ask.
It is a very important question.
Hebers. That's what my day's been like. Well, I mean, I have cool threads because I'm literally wearing a sweater. And how often do you see me wear any of my physical knits?
Pretty rarely,
Hmm?
which says something about how cold it is.
They're not full sleeves. It's fine, guys. This is my Gabros sweater. It's my fitted bulky weight sweater. I actually finally posted the freaking review for it. Only
Mm-hmm.
way later than it should have been. So there's a review on the channel where I talk just about the sweater and knitting the yarn, proving that it can be worn right next to my skin, or that I'm crazy tolerant to these sorts of things. It's cold in the basement. I'm can only see the members of my household because of my risk factors, and my fireplace is broken. So it's chilly in this basement. So I find myself, wearing 2 pairs of socks and sweaters right now because at minus 31 before the windshield, it's cold enough inside the house for me to want to wear these things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's my usual assortments of cardigans and stuff. Which again, there's 5 or 6 of them. They change every day. It's a whole kerfuffle, and I'm not talking about every pair of woolen socks I'm making wear. That's crazy. I think today may even be grandpa socks. It is in fact my grandpa socks.
Nice.
So that's what I'm wearing, and because I never leave the house, I don't really wear my shawls. I've been sleeping under that scrappy granny square couch throw over top of my comforter, the one I made in the Barcelona.
Oh, was it the
Here.
purple and white one?
That's the purple and white one, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's the Barcelona Glacier, which is that beautiful gray, variegated gray colorway, and then the eggplant Brava from Knit Picks. I've been living under that while I knit in the evenings in bed because it takes a while to warm up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
That sounds lovely.
So that's been nice, but that's about it.
I went for a walk and I wore my sister's favorite things,
Woo!
Cozy Up Knits MCAL shawl.
Did you have on display there?
Yeah. Well, it's still up in this room because even though I have washed it, blocked it, and worn it out, I still have not woven in the ends.
You've spent too much time around me.
So it is going to live in this room until such a time as I weave in the ends.
Okay.
So, like the next 4 months.
Give or take, yeah.
Yeah. We know how this works.
So long as you know and you are comfortable with who you are, it's fine. Really? It's
Yep.
not going to affect anybody but you. You're not doing
Yep.
it. It's good. You're good. You'll get mad one day because you haven't woven in the ends and you want to wear it, and the ends will get woven in. That's exactly how it works.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. It's still a freaking amazing shawl. Turned out so good.
It's gradient yarn. I need more gradient yarn in my life.
I need that gradient yarn in my life.
I definitely could use more of this gradient yarn in my life. It's pretty great.
It's so freaking pretty. Ah, it would look great in a nice basic sweater.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I will say about this yarn, should you happen to get some of this yarn, when you get around to washing it, do it in the coldest water possible because it is distinctly very saturated with dye, and the water was distinctly purple. I dipped a corner into some warm water and it just went like pink, and I'm like, oh no.
Oh, no.
Cold water.
No. And I know there's something that you can use to help prevent dye seepage, but I don't remember what it's called. I know there's a couple of things you can do to help prevent that in over-dyed and some super saturated urines, but I don't remember the specifics for it. So mentioning it does no help to anybody. But here you are with super helpful info.
I dipped the corner in and I went, oh no. So then I went and read a bunch of blogs and watched some videos and like, okay, so cold water.
Yep.
Don't let it soak, just like swish it around for a minute.
Yep.
And wool wash versus any other kind of detergent, but also apparently unscented wool wash, because sometimes the chemicals for scent can cause the dye to let go a little bit.
Yes.
Which I'd never heard before.
Yeah. Hey,
but I've got like 10 liters of, well, no, not 10 liters, but I do have like 2 liters of lavender scented wool wash, and I'm not gonna stop using it. So
lavender. I keep forgetting you like that scent. Ugh.
I do.
Ugh. I'm
lavender is great.
A eucalyptus one right now. It's okay. I don't think I'll get it again though.
Fair.
I gotta find one I like, and I'm really picky about scents. For good reason. You've seen what happens when we run across one that my nose does not okay.
Oh yeah.
I am miserable and grumpy like a small child who hasn't taken a nap. Because I'm just suffering and I want everybody to know it.
Okay. True assessment.
Hey, at least I'm honest about myself. All right. Well, I suppose that puts us into what we're working on, doesn't it?
I do believe it does. I have a grand 2 things, mostly because I worked exclusively on one thing.
Okay.
And then today went, oh, hey, I should maybe have at least one other thing and casted something on.
Hey, that's totally fair. I started a sweater off with Louise from Wildflower and Wool, or Fiber Friends, depending on how you know her. Mostly because we chat and talk back and forth a lot. So we decided that there was a thing that we wanted to do for fun. I think either I mentioned it or she mentioned it, and we both went, yeah, sure, why not? That could be fun. Let's do that. 2 months later, here we are doing a sweater off. So I'm literally working on my sweater as we record because Louise has a set work schedule. So during her work schedule, I am not allowed to knit on the sweater to make it as fair as possible. So when she physically can't be working on her sweater because she's working, making money to buy yarn, these are important things. Mm-hmm. I also cannot be working on my sweater because that would be unfair. And I'm almost at the end of a 50-gram ball.
Nice.
It's almost time for a new join. So I have made some progress. Thankfully, it is a holiday Monday tomorrow.
Yeah, I was so excited. I didn't know it was a holiday until Friday.
I didn't know till Louise told me. And then I went, what? That's amazing. I'll totally take an extra day of knitting.
Right? I'm so excited. We're supposed to get that dump of snow tonight into tomorrow. So I'm like, oh no, we're snowed in. We'll just have to like unpack boxes and like I'll just knit and it'll be great. And I'll organize this mess behind me that I've actually managed to mostly hide. There's like an enormous stack of boxes right behind this chair that you can't see. It's great.
That's why you're sitting in stationery today. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm hiding a lot of sins with this chair.
Has changed. What you can't see just off screen, because it goes stuff I've got stacked here, sewing machine, and then just off screen is all of my crochet magazines and knitting magazines. Stacked up to be put into Ravelry properly. So I know what patterns I have in what magazine they're in. Because I'll have it digitally in my Ravelry.
It's not an insignificant job.
It's not totally worth it. I love Ravelry for its sorting capacity. I don't love it for anything else. So it is what it is. I am working on my Habanero sweater, which is by Laura Chow. It is a free pattern that has been on my wish list for far longer than I should even admit out loud. Should have knit this ages ago. It is a bulky weight cardigan. It is tunic length. It is meant to be worn with summer dresses. That was my idea for it. People are saying, Jocelyn, are you crazy? You overheat like mad. You're right. So I did the Jocelyn thing and went, wait a minute. I can get gauge on a 6mm for her bulky weight pattern in worsted yarn because that is how tight I am.
Don't understand.
So here we go. I split for my sleeves.
Nice.
Now the color fizzes out a little bit because I've got a filter on the Zoom here. So what you guys are seeing is a sort of muted red, but it is a very deep cranberry burgundy red from Knit Picks. And now that I'm past the sleeves, I am doing the body. Woo! Now there is shaping in the body for this pattern that I won't be doing because of the sizing ratio that I've picked given my measurements and how I like my sweaters to fit.
Right.
And the drape I'm getting on this because holy Hannah, this is a drapey fabric. It's very light, it's very breezy, very airy. Otherwise I wouldn't be able to wear it in the spring with my summer dresses because I would get too hot. So I had to make the right fabric happen. And I absolutely am getting, I think I'm like half a stitch over what I'm supposed to be on the worsted for gauge at a 6mm. Half a stitch to a stitch. So like, really, I knit too tight. And I know it. So I got to make progress on miles and miles and miles of body. It's tunic length. Miles. And then there is a lace chart detailing that happens in that bottom third to quarter of it where lace pattern goes out the bottom towards the hem, which is gonna look so good. Mm-hmm. With the live check-in this week, we'll see how far we got at week 1, and then I will have till the following Thursday to see how much I can get done. So if I'm not done the body or most of the body by Thursday, I'm in trouble. Now, I can work on this in the evenings. I just can't work on it during office hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like this is gonna be the project this week. It's gotta be the project this week. Because I'm in a sweater off. And I have sleeves and a decorative button band.
May I just again point out that this was perhaps not the wisest choice for a race, given that it is tunic length with lace and decorative details.
No, it was absolutely pipe dream, super challenge yourself. Can you do it? You're a crazy person challenge, which is clearly why I chose it. Clearly.
Okay, just making sure you know.
Never done a button band before, so clearly that makes total sense for me to do. I have lace knitted before. I'm lace knitting in a bulky, essentially. Wow, I'll be able to see the yarn overs. Kind of excited to actually be able to see the lace I'm making. That'll be fun. That doesn't happen to me very often. So I'm happy with it. The button band thing, I'm going to leave the decision till the very end when I'm picking up to do the stitches for it. Mostly because I will never be able to close the cardigan, and I know I'll never be able to close the cardigan, so I may honestly just make it a straight band and not make it a button band.
Okay.
I'm just going to have to decide when I get there if I want the buttons or not, because I won't be using the buttons. Because I'm obviously making it for my upper bust measurement, so it will never close around the girls, not without pulling significantly. Mm-hmm. Which will pull the yarn out and will make the fabric look weird. But since the goal was to wear it with my pretty summer dresses, I was never going to be closing it anyway. I was never.
Just skip the buttons and the buttonholes and go for just go for an open cardigan look.
Yeah, just go for an open cardigan look, because this has no pockets on it. But really, all the dresses I'm making for myself are going to have pockets. So, of the things to worry about, is a button band I will never use one of them? Probably not.
Yeah, I feel like you can probably, unless you had like the perfect buttons that you really wanted to use.
I don't have spare buttons. There's no spare buttons in this house.
You can probably leave off the buttons then.
That's sort of where I'm leaning towards doing it. It's just like, and it's probably going to be fiddly and I'm not going to enjoy it. So why? If I'm never going to use it, why would I do it? Why?
Yeah. No, yeah.
Now, if I was going to close the cardigan, then yeah, I want buttons. I want buttons. But I don't think I'm ever closing this cardigan, so does not make sense. Does not make sense. So there we go. I don't know if you guys can hear, but she's snoring. All right, that is my first one. If you've got 2 items, I suppose I have to do 1 more, don't I?
Probably.
Okay, smoke it, huck it, poke. Or do you, yeah, because you've only got the 2, right?
Yeah.
You could go, and then I could go, then you could go, then I could go.
Sure. Okay, wait, so I'm going now?
Yeah.
I didn't quite follow that logic. Okay.
My brain sort of made sense, but I don't think English is what came out.
I'm not convinced.
Okay.
Okay. So the thing that I worked on exclusively up until today this week, when I casted on something new, I've been working on my podcast anniversary knitted t-shirt, the Ome tee. So I believe last week I had just split for the sleeves.
No, last week you were to the point where you had to stop because you were gonna start your start your fade into your next color.
Right. Okay, so I was about there last week.
I've been waiting for this yellow. Give me the yellow. Give me the yellow.
So I faded into the yellow.
Oh my god!
I did the entire yellow stripe.
Oh.
And I faded back out of the yellow. And now I'm into my last color.
Holy jeez.
I have a progress keeper on here.
Blow it through this.
I think, let's see, let's look at this progress keeper here. Yeah, so
that's so much.
I think I did almost 8 inches. No, that's at least 6 inches of fingering weight knitting though.
Fingering
for like a body circumference.
Holy
fingering.
Jeebers, woman.
I really like this yarn and these colors, and I'm very happy with this project.
Holy schnickerdoodles. Well, it's a good thing I sent you a Valentine's Day present to distract you. Oh my.
Yeah. It's really a shame I don't have yarn to cast it on right now.
Fix that problem. You're gonna have a snow day tomorrow. Do some online shopping.
This is true. So if I just stand up here for a moment and then back up, you can kind of get a sense of how long it is.
That is so good. God,
so it's gonna be like, yeah, so the band hits, so the yellow's like waist-ish length and the band hits below the chest, and yeah. Ish. I don't know quite how it's gonna hang, but there-ish. But I'm really excited because I got all the pretty purple up next to my face because I look good with purple, and then I get to have the pretty yellow, which I never get to wear in my clothes because I do not look good with yellow.
Diana.
And this honeycomb fade here that we're doing, I'm gonna get a close up on this because this is just really fun to do. It's all just knit one and knit one below, which was a new to me stitch. I had to look up how to do that because is it really just like knit into the stitch below and like then you drop both of them? And this seems weird, and yes, so that is in fact what you do. You knit into the stitch below and you drop both of them.
Oh, so good.
So if I get that, once it's blocked, it'll sit a little more evenly like that.
Yeah, but that's fine. Oh, okay. Yawning notwithstanding, it's just because it's getting
I know.
For me.
And this color, my third color here is so much fun. It's like teal and purple, but some of the teal, not in this section, but there's some greener, like you can see. Wow, that actually just looks white. How about over here? Okay, so there's like a green speckle in parts of the yellow, and so during this honeycomb, some of the green from the yellow stripe actually lined up with the greener parts of the teal, and they actually like all blended together like really nicely. I cannot find any of that in here, but it made doing the stitch a little bit challenging because I'm trying to read my knitting and I'm like, these are the same color. Which color is this?
Oh,
Yeah, but
It's so
it's
good. It
so
looks so good. Whoa, I cannot wait to see that on you.
neither can I, and I'm so pumped because so there's waist shaping, which I also did not realize when I started this pattern. This pattern just continues to delight. I just kind of picked it on a whim. I was literally like, what do I have yarn for? And like, I don't want to make something that's like 6 skeins. What can I do with 3 or 4?
Yep.
And I really picked this on a whim, but it just continues to delight.
I'm so excited.
When I finish the waist shaping, then there's lace detail at the bottom, which like I did know, but when I picked the pattern, I thought I was doing the cropped length, in which case I'd be almost done right now. But I thought I was going to do the crop length, so I'm like, oh, there's lace, and that's kind of cool. But now I'm doing the tunic length because these colors are so gorgeous, and I want to use them all. And so now I get to do lace too in this beautiful color, and I'm
Yep.
so excited.
Now, don't get me wrong. I love you. I hope the lace holds you up.
I did take a look at the lace chart. It's like a 6-stitch repeat, and it's like yarn overs and knit 2 togethers. It's not anything incredibly advanced.
All right, all right, all right, all right. Which
So I
is
don't
fair.
I don't think it'll hold me up too
Hold it,
much. Just
hold it.
just warning you, I might actually also finish this knit along on time in an
Really?
unprecedented
2 knit alongs.
2 knit alongs finished on time in the same year. I don't know. Who am I?
All right, that's it. I gotta do it. I need to crack commiseratory ginger ale. I am miles away from finishing the body of the half moon tea. Miles,
Oh,
miles. That's all right. That's okay. I can pull out something that has some shock and awe. I can do it.
shock and awe. Okay, let's.
I can do it. To move my mouse because now I've got the big face over your face, the big hand over your face. It's no half a freaking t-shirt and fingering weight knitting in 1 week. Dear Lord.
I don't even know how it happened. Like, I seriously don't know. I don't know. No, I do know. I had a lot of meetings this week. That's how it happened. Never mind. Mystery solved.
I work an office job and I had a ton of meetings this week.
Oh, you know, it's even this Thursday is my company's yearly summit, they call it.
Okay.
But of course that so it would be the time that everybody would like get together and do presentations and whatever.
Mhm.
But because we can't do that this year, it's all virtual. So basically, I have the entirety of Thursday afternoon to just sit and chill and knit while I watch things. I get paid a tech salary to sit and chill and watch things and knit on Thursday.
Not fair. And then I realized I can watch Critical Role live and you can't.
Yeah, I really can't. Oh, it's just too late.
Oh, did somebody finish the first strip in the bed? Scrappy blanket? Yes.
Ooh, oh, that's oh gosh, where did all that come from? You had 2 of those squares last week.
Woo!
Where did all of that come from?
You are not the only person who can shock and awe. All right.
I very rarely shock and awe with my knitting.
I know. I'm so excited that you're doing so well. Oh, both so good. So I am making a scrappy blanket out of granny squares. The inspiration for this came from Fiberflex's year-long granny square knit along. I'm obviously couldn't do it even remotely the easy, simple way like she's got going that looks great. I had to overly complicate mine because of course I did. I'm Jocelyn. You met me. This is what I do. And I'm gonna roll backwards in my chair to be far away so you guys can see more of the square. And I love this small grid next to the big grid.
Yeah, that's makes for a very fun visual, a very fun visual texture.
Isn't it?
I like that.
I'm
And it's all marled and no, it's not all marled. Some of it's solid.
Some of the smaller squares are solid.
Very visually interesting. I like this very much.
So happy with how this is turning out. This is all worsted acrylic held double. When I had enough left over after the big grids, I made some small grids in the same colors. So some of the big grid colors are going to show up in some of the small grids for coherency. So I have the width of the bed to the drape length I wanted, and I wanted a king size to go over my queen sized bed so that you had a proper amount of drape and you covered the sides of your bed. So my first strip is done. I have to make like 5 or 6 more of these strips to cover the rest of my bed. So there is still a ton of work to do. But I did get gray bordered and put together the first strip.
I mean, if you keep
that it's comfortable. She's already tested it out for sleeping purposes.
I mean, if you keep working at that pace, you'll be done in like a month. So
I don't think I can do that this week. I have a whole freaking sweater to knit.
Okay, sorry, it'll take you 5 weeks.
So I don't think I'll get a ton of progress done this week, but I am alternating the squares. So the next row up will have 3 squares of the 9 grid and 2 squares of the larger grids. So I gotta start putting those together and trimming ends because I crocheted them in as I went, but I haven't trimmed my ends on the first trip. So I'm doing that. But my leftover squares and my larger marled, I've got set aside. Guys, I'm really far away from the computer now. Oh my gosh. I'm literally backed up against the sewing machine. Hang on, let me roll forward. Because that's really far back. So I had enough to make 4 out of this one colorway. So we'll get this marled colorway popping up a couple of times. And then I had enough to do a couple of the dark, like the blue one, and I combined some of them together to start making a 9 grid out of. And I've got some of them sitting loose so they can go in like pillows or get added to other grids or start other grids where they'll be the only similar color, since I got to make so many 9 grids still. But yeah, that was my big, I don't know how that happened, but one night I just ended up sewing up the squares together and went, well, here we are. Okay.
Well then.
And she went, no, that's some serious drapage. And I went, yeah, it's great. And we sat there thinking, looking at it. I might end up putting this together and I might end up tucking it away for the niece's graduation present from high school.
Ooh. Yeah, that would be something.
I just might. It just depends on how it looks when it's finished. And if she comes and she sees it and she loves it when it's finished, it may just politely get tucked away for her because she's in grade 9 now. So it won't be long till she graduates high school. And I can certainly store this for a couple of years, wrap it up pretty and give it to her as a graduation present.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the second of 3 projects this week. That's why there's not 4 or 5. A lot of
a lot happened on a few. That's ooh.
I did a lot. I made some serious progress on the sweater. I'm just getting my 3rd ball started here. My 3rd 50-gram ball started here too. Which I'm going to do while you talk about your last thing.
Well, I suspect that my last thing and your last thing are the same thing.
Yes, in fact, they are.
All right. I'm going to talk while I finish the last few stitches of this round. And so the thing that I cast on today, because I went, oh, hey, I should, have more than one thing maybe.
What?
I've been doing so well finishing things on time, I decided, hey, I can test knit Jocelyn's shawl pattern. I can definitely do that and finish in like a reasonable amount of time that isn't 6 months from now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I started that because I had yarn for it and I was really excited about it.
For the record, this started off with me going, hey, look, I had a thing in my brain and it's coming out of my brain a lot better than other things in my brain. And I showed a picture and all of a sudden Dinah went, ooh, me! And I went, yeah, okay.
So the thing in your head, as I understand it, requires 2 skeins of one color, ideally a gradient, which I do not possess, unfortunately.
That's fine.
And 1 skein of a strong contrasting plain-ish.
Plainish, yeah.
So I don't have a gradient, but I do have 2 of these, which is Malabrigo Makita base.
Oh.
And this particular colorway is Diana.
I thought that's what that colorway was. You're using the
did I get that right?
diameter.
I have. Plus, this one was already wound because I started something with it ages ago and then ripped it out, and then it was just already caked, so that was nice. It is, yes, Makito base, which is 100% superwash merino. It is a single ply, but yeah, the colorway is, ooh, the colorway is Diana.
That's great.
So there's a skein and there's a cake, and it is just glorious. And now that I've started knitting it, it is in fact glorious, just as glorious as you would think.
What do you pick for contrast?
My contrast, the only things that I had that could possibly go with it were plain white and plain black. So plain black.
Hey, that is going to be so moody and deep and beautifully earth toned compared to my version. I'm super excited.
So I wish the black had a bit of sparkle. I feel like that would go really well, but I do not have anything with sparkle. So it's fine. So I'm doing that, and I've got like 6 rows in, so this spoils absolutely nothing in case anybody was worried about that. It has garter stitch. Ooh. Oh wait, that's the back. It has garter stitch. Ooh.
It's almost like garter stitch looks the same from front to back.
Well, yeah, but I have my tail sticking out the back, and that doesn't look as nice. So.
Okay. Oh, that looks so. Oh, those colors.
Right. So I'm really pumped about that.
Oh, that's so good.
And it's really soft too, because it's just the one ply.
Ooh.
I strongly suspect this will not wear well at all and will pill like nobody's business, which is why I'm very glad that it's going to be a delicate shawl and not like a hat or a sweater or something.
Oh yeah, no. A single ply is amazing for shawls.
Yeah. It'll make a glorious shawl. So that's where that's at. Well, that like goes really well with this shirt. Actually, if I just like, I feel like if I stuck this on a couple of hair sticks and just like, hang on, we're gonna decorate my head for a second.
Okay. Well, I mean, would it be an episode if we didn't decorate your head?
There we go.
I feel like the answer to that would be no.
But like, I feel like I should almost just get a couple of chopsticks and like make little garter stitch fans.
Make garter stitch fans for your hair?
Yeah.
I feel like that would be a fun thing you would do and would wear well for you.
And given that I already have a stick in my head, it is something I would wear.
Yes, in fact.
Well, I might have a project for all of those delivery food chopsticks now.
Hey, that's a thing. All right. My turn, is it?
Yeah.
I had a gradient, which is how we ended up talking about gradients for this. So I'm using some. No, I don't have the ball band with me because it's sitting beside my bed because I casted this on one night before I went to sleep. My gradient went from an ice white in through a deep glacier blue, and now we're swinging back out to the ice white in the middle. You see that blue going on in there? So pretty. This is a heavy fingering. And then my contrast color is this really, really deep, like, I don't want to say blood red, but it's like that super deep, moody goth red with the little
goth red.
Goth red. My color combos. This is how I describe wordage, people. Colors are crazy. You haven't seen it since I've added the contrast strip, have you?
No, I think I saw whatever the one picture was you sent.
Yeah. So, which was still just right. So, it's a crescent-shaped shawl. It already has a name, and if I magically stay ahead of Asa, should be done before her. So I started in, and I did my first few sections. It features that little Estonian button, because my God, that's such a cute stitch. I had to make a shawl out of this button stitch, guys. That's how much I love this button stitch. And then I put my first contrast strip in. So now I'm doing the final big section of the button, and then I have the strip. So this contrast takes over. So you get fewer and fewer blue sections and more red sections as we go down.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm liking where this is going.
So
Plus button stitch.
plus button stitch. So it'll have nice solid up near your neck where you're wearing it, but it's going to open up into a lace towards the bottom where you don't necessarily need to have a tighter weave for a winter shawl or for a fall shawl. So you can have something that's a little it's mostly to add length and growth so that it's a big shawl. B, it's going to be a big shawl. It's going to use close to 300 grams of yarn. So like you're using a lot of that yarn. So it's going to be in that Stephen West realm. But I really don't like small shawls, so I don't know why I would design small shawls.
That would be weird if you designed small shawls.
So I've got my first stripe. So my next one will be the same. It's the eyelet lace that I really love. It'll be 3 rows of the eyelet lace and then 6 rows of the eyelet lace, and then you get the idea. It rotates out between the button stitch, which then shrinks. So you get fewer buttons and more laces the farther down the shawl we go. So I just have to get this last section of buttons done. And it's the big one. But yeah, the buttons are so fun.
I'm so excited to do the buttons in
Oh,
this color that I have.
okay.
They're going to be so great.
The buttons have a rhythm. So like you get into the button rhythm and it
Yeah.
just goes. Like I just go through a row and then I'm done. And I'm like, hello, how did that happen? I find eyelet lace has a rhythm and it's got because I have a lot more I'm more touchy-feely for a texture sort of person than I am for maybe perhaps very, very beautiful, delicate lace patterns because I don't see them very well. This has got garter sections and stockinette sections, so it does a bunch of bumps and raises and ups and downs, which you can feel, which I really like. So, but you know, on my 40-inch cord, my crescent-shaped shawl is starting to bunch a little. My rows have reached that point where I'm like, hey, you're a significant row now. Cool. It's not so long that I think to myself, dear God, I got a row, but we're getting there. And yes, it'll be dear God, I've got a row before the end because that's how that works. Mostly I have to beat Asa to the end so I can have an edging on. But I'm not sure which one of the 2 edgings I want to do. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I got to be towards the end to see how much yarn I have left to see which edging would make the most amount of sense. So that is what
are you looking at for edgings?
I'm either going to do a nice plain just stretchy or an I-cord to finish it off, but I got to see how the rest of it looks and whether I end up, because if I end up doing it in the red section, I might do a couple of stitches so that you get a nice wave to it. But if I do
Okay.
it with the blue, like if it ends up being in the primary color, then I would want to maybe do an I-cord edge so it's nice and smooth.
All right.
It just depends on what color I end up doing the edge in. Which I won't know for sure till I get there because I don't want to do it where it's like super tight and people might not make it since yardage is approximations.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you get more, sometimes you get less per skein. So I want to do it.
I feel like I had a brainwave. I weighed all of my skeins before I started.
Yeah.
So I can tell you precisely how much I use.
Hey. Well, I know not everybody does that and not everybody's gonna do the things right. So like I'm gonna have it, but I don't want to be so it's like so tight. You're at a really big risk or danger of playing some serious yarn chicken.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll still use a lot of the balls of yarn that you're using, which is kind of where I'm comfortable sitting. Like I like people to have like 5 or 10 grams left over if I can swing. And if
Not
you're
like 1 gram.
yeah, you know,
Less than 1 gram when I was finishing this one.
that's
No, I did that. I did that one to myself. I added 4 more rows.
That's tight to me, and then like not everyone's going to be comfortable either doing the math or have access to those kinds of skeins. Like I want people to be able to pick up the slightly shorter skein length and still be able to do it, but they'd have like 1 or 2 or 3 grams left if the colors they want to do it in are a slightly smaller skein. So it is what it is. But I mean, again, Diana and Asa got notes, guys, and Diana will tell you, I mean notes.
Yes, they are notes.
It's not a pattern. It's notes. It has a name, and it's super roughly sketched out. And over the next couple of weeks, I'll take time to fill it out so it's in English. And you know, I've already had to have a prompt reminder that I have to put gauge in there and I already forgot to write a row for setup. So it's like
That's why you have test knitters.
When I mean it's rough notes, I mean I didn't even write down the instructions for the knot stitch. I wrote knot stitch and put 2 brackets in there to remind myself to put the instructions in.
I just happen to know what stitch you mean because we both just knit this shawl.
Mm-hmm. It's my sister's favorite. That's my sister's favorite things. I fell in love with that stitch, and I was like, it has to be a shawl. It has to be a shawl. I need it in a shawl. It has to happen. I want it right now. Gimme, 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 gimme.
This section right here.
Because it was so much fun.
Yeah.
So fun.
Oh no.
And I love the wavy bottom on the crescent shaped shawls, but I don't like feathering fan. So I would have to make the wave happen with a different stitch pattern. So things I have to decide. So right now that's where it sits. That'll probably be a chunk of what I work on. That'd be work knitting this week. That isn't the sweater. Just because I need to stay ahead of Elsa. And that woman can knit. Oh, which is good. She keeps me honest and she keeps me on track. Because again, I almost casted on 2 pairs of mittens and a cowl this week.
You don't have time for that.
So easily distracted right now, guys. Do not have the brain span for any of this.
No.
Nope.
You have things to do. Do the things.
To do. Things I want to get finished. Oh, goodness. Stuff I'd like to have done and off my needles. So that is where I'm sitting, and that's what we worked on this week.
Nice.
With luck, next week I'm done this shawl. Like I'm done it's called King's Flame. I'm done King's Flame to the point where I'm like down to the edging. If I'm not finished it entirely. I'd love to be finished it entirely, but I know that's a bit of a pipe dream.
The rows get very long very quick in crescent shawls.
Yes, they do. Which is why I know it's a bit of a pipe dream. Still willing to dream the dream, though.
Well, you keep dreaming that dream.
I shall. Wool gathering, yes?
Wool gathering. I like how she's like, as she gets more into this bath, the whole like cat tree is like shaking.
Oh, yeah. It's because she's a little overweight for her cat tree. So she can move it.
Okay. Wool gathering. Patreon is a thing that we have. If people would like to support us in a financial manner, the Patreon link is in the description or in the show notes, depending on how you're consuming this content. And if you support us at the higher tiers each month, then we also have a monthly e-knitting, the next one of which is coming up this Saturday, February the 20th, at noon Central Standard Time, or noon Manitoba time, because that is roughly central to North America and roughly dinner time to Europe.
Roughly, yep.
And it seems to work out fairly well.
It's good. It occurs to me you're very William Shatner-y with your Patreon ad.
I am. I don't like this about myself.
I'm just feeling like I'm not a good friend if I don't point out and make fun of you for this habit of yours, which I'm not sure when you slid into it, but you're there. And you're.
I haven't even watched a lot of William Shatner doing beat poetry, and it absolutely does. That's exactly what it sounds like.
And she's just.
All right, well, today I learned that thing about myself.
I don't know how you got there, but here you are. That's what you're doing.
And I should really just write something out and just read it off, and like, should really just write it out and stop trying to improv it. It never goes well.
You'll feel better.
200 episodes, and you'd think I'd figure things out.
Nope.
No, never.
Nope.
Never learn.
All right. If Patreon is a thing that you know, but you can't financially support us in our endeavors, we super understand and appreciate that you're just viewing and watching the podcast anyway. If you're able to hit that like or subscribe button, that helps us out a lot, as well as leaving comments here You can join us over on Facebook at our Facebook group, because we have a Facebook group. P.S. The answer is don't forget to net. And as always, we are on Ravelry, even though we're not super active on Ravelry. That's just because we're not social media people. It is what it is. If I recall correctly, it's my Tuesday for Experimental Tuesday this week.
I believe it is, yes.
Cool.
I did a twofer this week.
Ooh, fancy.
Well, neither of them were very fancy, so I figured I could do two.
Okay, that's fair. The only other super big things we've got going on right now is we have our podcast anniversary running. So this is a knit along that we run for the 3 months running up to our anniversary month, which also happens to be our birthday month, which is next month. How are we already like halfway through February?
I don't know.
How?
I don't know. I do not understand where the days go.
So that's a thing that's happening. This year's rules for the podcast anniversary are pretty easy and simple. We're kind of liking it. It's any 3 skeins, 2 skeins, how many skeins?
2 skeins.
2 skeins.
2 skeins or more.
Of yarn, a pattern by a designer new to you in any adult-sized garment or item. So no children's stuff, just to make it fair. And then after that, you're free to pick. Bonus points if you are able to find a pattern that you like and enjoy from a BIPOC designer or a male designer. Even better if you can do it and it's not from the top people that we all know about. Because it's important to also showcase the smaller designers. This year, Diana chose the Ome Tea by a lady whose name I'm sure I will mispronounce.
Oh, again, she has her handle on every page, and I just
it's the
never freaking remember.
Which is okay. I picked the Half Moon Tea. While not a BIPOC designer, it is a new to me designer. So that's how we stand.
What's your actual name? Noriko Ho.
Noriko Ho. Okay.
Noriko Ho does the Ome Tea.
Well, remember at the end of March when we're done.
Right? Yeah. Well, because her handle is Nori-chan, and it's so cute, and it's on every page, because she's got her social at the bottom of every page, and there's 15 pages. So that I remember, and I will never forget. I can't remember her actual name.
We'll remember when we're done. That's how it works for you and me. Yep. So that's going on. The only other big thing we want to start mentioning at this point now for everybody to know, that is a birthday treat to ourselves, since my birthday is one day before Diana's birthday. In the scheme of things, our episode will be live on March the 7th. So that will be our official birthday week. So we are going to take the week off from editing and show notes, and we will just be live with all of you guys Sunday at noon Manitoba time or Central Standard Time. So we're starting to give everybody a heads up a few weeks early in advance, since it occurred to me yesterday that I don't want to do editing on my birthday week. I would like to take that week off.
Totally fair. I like this plan. It's a good plan.
And if we're doing it live, then I have an excuse to get my birthday cake early, so I can have birthday cake during the live.
Perfect. I wonder if I should get birthday pie.
That's it. You can have a birthday, whatever it is you choose to. I don't know how old you will be this year.
30. I'm turning 30.
You turned 30?
Yeah.
I reached the ripe old age of 38 this year. Proudly. I'm 2 years from 40. I'm so excited. Oh, I'm so excited. My mother thinks I'm nuts. It's fine.
Yeah, what happens at 40? What's so amazing about 40?
I'm hoping it's easier to remember than 38, because I had to ask my sister the other day how old I was. And she sat there and thought about it really hard, and she literally just got older, guys, because her birthday is exactly 1 month before mine. So her birthday was literally this week. And we sat there and thought about it for a good long while before we remembered, and I'm hoping 40 is easier to remember, because 38 has been proving very difficult.
But I've been 30-ish in my head for like at least 2 years, so I'm just going to keep saying 30-ish for 2 more years after this.
Well, at 40, you also get to start getting the fun birthday cards. Because you start getting back into the yeared birthday cards. You know, you get your 6, your 5, your 8, your 10, but then it stops. And you don't get them again until you're 40. Because then you start getting the fun old joke humor cards.
Ooh. Oh, I wonder if I'm going to get any of those this year.
I'm certainly going to try to find one for you, because I love me a good joke birthday card.
I just remembered the most amazing birthday card that I saw at the grocery store the other day, and I didn't have a reason to get it. But your birthday is next month, and I have a reason to get it. Okay, I'm gonna get that when I go to the store, whenever that is.
You will have a hard time topping the most delightfully absurd birthday card I've ever received in my life. That's because I got one from Emma when we were in university, because I was turning 30. But she couldn't find a 30, so she found a 3 and added the 0.
Oh, did it have like little cartoon dinosaurs on it?
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, it was a little kid's birthday card, and they gave them like, wine glasses, and
That's wonderful.
because that is the kind of human beings I like to spend my time with. So that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna let you guys know coming up to it. So we'll remind you in the next few weeks, and then I know Diana will remember, because I won't, to make sure to do one of those, hey, we're gonna do a live thingies that some YouTubers remember to do that I certainly don't.
Yes, I will schedule a live on our YouTube channel so that you can even get notified when we go live.
Hey, that saves me a lot of times when people schedule them and I see them a couple of days in advance if I want to go back and watch. I have YouTube remind me, because I'll forget. I'll absolutely forget, and I won't mean to, but I'll do it.
Oh,
Super,
same.
super happy. So that's the thing that's going on. But those are really the big things we've got in Wool Gathering. My February Suck Club yarn from Fireweed Fiber Co. should come to me this week. I'm one of the last people to get it because I'm in the city here. So we should be able to open that up next week.
Woo! Like a pre-birthday thing.
It is a pre-birthday thing. So super stoked about that.
Guess I should send your birthday present soon, hey?
Yeah, I should order yours.
Should figure out what I'm doing. I've had like half a dozen different ideas. I should like pick something and do it.
Yeah, so far I've opened up things and gone, oh, it looks good. That would be good. That's a good idea. Have I done any of it? No. Absolutely not. No. I need to correct that oversight and get that going shortly so that I can get it to you on time. I figured that would be good. You'd appreciate it.
On time-ish is fine.
Yeah.
As long as it shows up sometime in March. It's on time.
It's close enough, it counts.
Yeah.
So I gotta figure out what I want to do and do that. So there are things to do. Stuff is happening. I had to survive my sister and dad's birthdays first. Now that those are done, now I can focus. Woohoo! All right. Which really, because we have no spinning or other things, just puts us in a literature, doesn't it?
It does. Time to talk books.
To talk books.
Yeah, with your like 30 trillion more books than me. But hey, I'm on like episode what of Critical Role? Hang on, I can find out. I can let you know.
There's a tab for that?
There's a tab for that. Episode 85. No, did I? I think I'm on episode 86, actually. I think I finished that one.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, I'm solidly into November 2019.
You are so closing in on the start of the pandemic.
I know.
Which is really jarring, because for you it'll be one episode they're together, and then the next time they're all on separate screens because they're all socially distanced.
Yep.
But you don't have that gap in between, so you'll have all of that catch up. Or for you it was just the previous episode.
Like, what do you mean we need to recap because it's been 6 months since you played? It was just like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, so that could be a little jarring.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what that's like doing a watch through, like all compressed, where I don't have to wait 6 months.
Oh, the wait was killer. I understood why, and I was super glad they waited till it was safe and figured out a safe way to do it. Absolutely. Doesn't mean the wait was easy.
No.
I'm an adult and I'm not going to complain about it, because they're telling a story. I don't have the right to ask them to risk their lives. I don't. I absolutely
Gosh, no. It's just a game.
Yeah. So I'm super excited. Episode 86. Hello, you're trucking along.
Yeah.
So good.
I got to the part where plug your ears for the next 30 seconds if you don't want Critical Role episode 80 something spoilers.
When we're on episode 120 something.
Yeah. And in case you're doing a catch-up watch through like me, and you don't want episode 80 something spoilers, plug your ears.
Okay.
But I just got to the part where they had the showdown in Pumat Sol's store, and the moment where you have that flashback to like one of the early episodes where Marish is like, flash forward to where Pumat joins our party and helps us fight gods.
Yep.
And then episode 80 something, yep. Pumat Sol joins the party to help them fight gods.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
I was so happy.
He's got some lovely tricks. I like how he just goes, okay, throws out a sack and goes, let's go. And you're like, whoa, wait, what? Ah, we get to see Pumat in combat.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Oh gosh.
Very cool. It is delightful. Delightful.
I've noticed that
combat, because it is stressful as all get out when they get into combat. That's serious. And you were highly on the edge of your seat for some of the combats. Not all of them, but for some of them.
I've noticed how not all of the characters, but some of Mercer's characters he does faces for, and Pumat is one of the ones that has faces.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Super funny when they do the Halloween episode and he's doing the faces in his Halloween costume. And they have to try to keep a straight face.
It was bad enough when he was doing it in the McCree costume and his mustache kept falling off because he had an actual mustache underneath.
Yep.
But the more mustache kept falling off and it was just like this weird patchy thing.
Oh yeah, it's great. And you're just like, what in the world are you doing? I just shows you how professional they are, that they are able to pull that off, because I couldn't. Nope.
No, I would be on the floor just tears streaming. There would be no serious from me.
I could not do it. So I'm glad you're making progress. It's great.
I'm gonna be sad when I catch up. I'll be like excited, but also sad.
The week will fly by. Thursday will take forever. Or in your case, like Friday, if that's what you watch, or said like the day.
It'll be the weekend when I watch, because I cannot be up at 2:30 in the morning on a weeknight watching Critical Role. No, that is not a wise choice.
The only reason I get away with it is because I can have a nap Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't do it either. But I can have a nap, so I do it. But that is how that works. I'm really good. Yeah. And really, are we shocked that I have 50 billion books? You know what happens to me when I start down a reread.
Yeah, suddenly there's 50 billion books.
I just chain read them. Like and that's what I'm doing right now. So they're all the ones I have in my library. I'll slow down here shortly because I don't have that many spare Audible credits floating around in my cycle. So I picked up the series Anita Blake by Laurel K. Hamilton. This is a series that has literally been published and worked on since 1993. It is a very long-running series.
That's almost as old as I am.
And I've been reading it since 1993, 94. Now, having said that, having now been doing some of the rereads and writing some reviews for the rereads, some parts of it have aged exceptionally well. Some parts of it have aged exceptionally poorly. And that's not terribly uncommon when you go back to read older books. There's some parts where your brain goes, oh no. And some part where your brain goes, okay, yeah, that's like nostalgia cute. Like pagers, they're nostalgia cute. Some of the word choices she has in some of her first beginning books, not so much, but that's because while it was edgy then, it's politically incorrect now. So, but that's a cause with times and changes, noting that it's been 20 plus years since 1993.
28, in fact.
A lot of things have changed, and a lot of social discourse has changed. So it does show its age in some spots. So like there's some places where I go, okay, where it's like you have to be aware that trigger warnings weren't a thing. They weren't a thing. They didn't exist. It wasn't something.
Trigger warnings, I don't think were a thing until like I don't remember noticing them before like 5 years ago.
Yeah, they're a super recent thing. But you really, in a horror fiction alt history like crime drama, like
There's probably going to be some triggery stuff.
there's some triggery stuff, but you didn't have it then, so they don't exist in the front of these books. Where it's like it's a horror mystery fiction that does add in sexy fun times. So like the vampires are legit scary. There's legit not fun stuff that's covered. So they're not pampered pretty princesses.
They're not sparkly.
They're not sparkly. They are okay. You know what? If they were real, I could see this being the case. Like I could see these being complications and problems and stuff. So I thoroughly enjoy that sort of nitty gritty to it, but even I go, okay, there are some words and there's some choices that now I know I would have troubles with if the book had been published like 3 or 4 years ago. It would be a turnoff. I think the only reason I'm comfortable with it is because I know, because I'm old enough to remember that me then and adults then would not have occurred to us. Would not have occurred to us that that was a thing that wasn't okay. So I can't judge someone for writing for their time.
No.
By the standards that we use now. I just can't. I can't do that to people. I either have too much of a history degree about it. I just can't. Because I know the author's a good person. Though even though I said that, guys, I can read authors I know that are not good people and it doesn't bother me. I just don't give them my money. I take the books out of the library and support the library. So, that's where it is. But I do have them on Audible, so so far I've been listening through. So, for fun, we are just going to list the first few. Noting that if you ever read the series, I am firmly in Jean-Claude camp. I am not in Richard camp. I am in Jean-Claude camp. I like the scary vampire, and I'm comfortable with him. I read through Guilty Pleasures, which is the first book in the series. There's no sexy fun times. There's some hot, steamy moments, but no sexy fun times. I read through book 2, which is The Laughing Corpse. It's about zombies and vampires, guys. Werewolves and magic. These titles make sense. I made it through book 3, which is Circus of the Damned. Just think about that for a second, noting what I've already said is a thing that exists in this world. Then we moved on to the Lunatic Cafe. We started moving into lycanthropes and stuff, the Lunatic Cafe. Now I'm into Bloody Bones. We're on a field trip. We've left St. Louis. So, super excited. Yeah, that's 5 books. I made it through. I got 9 hours left on book 5. And I made it through 3 of the 6 episodes for The Sea in the Sky.
That's so much. Okay. Well, I read I read Changeling some more.
Yeah.
And I will say that is also a product of its time in that the illustrations are just so delightfully 80s, like charmingly so. But for whatever reason, the one female character is depicted as wearing a fur-trimmed chainmail bikini. And like I don't understand why, because she's not ever described like that in the book. So I don't know why she's wearing that in the illustrations.
Terribly common. Which, I mean, I did say, now if it was fully fur-lined, so there was...
That would be like, oh gosh, like a fur-lined bra, that'd be like...
You'd be warm.
That'd be nice.
I could see an argument for that.
But for you. You know what? I'm not going to finish that sentence.
You don't finish that sentence.
No.
Your husband knows how to make chainmail. But fur-trimmed chainmail? No.
It's just so weird.
Chainmail's cold. I don't care if it's made out of aluminum or metal. It's cold.
Yeah. And it's pinchy.
Yeah. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Oh, no, I don't, because she's like the NPC farmer's daughter. She is a farmer. Like, the description of what she's wearing at this moment in the book is just like a shirt and trousers and like, traveling clothes. Yep. So I don't know why she's wearing that for the illustrations. It's really weird.
They all do that in the 80s. They all do that. They're all just like, did the illustrator know what they wore?
Yeah, they just like read 10 words from this paragraph and like, okay, sure.
Were they told or were they not told? Because some of them may have never been told. They may have been given height, gender, and like hair color or something.
I feel like there were very loose descriptions given because there's a lot of like weird random antennas that I don't think are in any of the descriptions. Because it's like there's bad guy sci-fi guy.
Bad guy sci-fi guy.
Yeah. Well, because it's a sci-fi fantasy in that bad guy does sci-fi
Oh,
and protagonist does fantasy. I can't say he's the good guy, he's the protagonist. But protagonist does fantasy and bad guy does sci-fi.
okay.
So
Okay.
it's a sci-fi fantasy. And we're
Oh,
gonna have a fantasy sci-fi showdown by the end of this book, and I'm looking forward to it.
so am I, and I'm not reading it. So
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be good. Like sci-fi at the level that it's basically magic, so it's like tech wizard and actual wizard.
yeah.
They're gonna show down over this girl who has no agency of her own. Sorry, woman has no agency of her own. But this character is self-aware enough to know it. She literally says in a line, "I'm just a pawn." She is aware of her situation in this book and she's stuck, and it's like, and I just feel so bad for this female character because like she's just like she's trying to have a story, like she's trying really hard to have a story and the author's not letting her. And she's aware of it and she's like crying out to the reader, "I'm just a pawn." I just find that so amazing.
Yep. Yep. It happens when you read older books. Still gonna recommend the series because I know where the series goes. So I know where it gets to. Still, but yeah, sometimes when you go back and you read older books, your brain goes, "Oh dear." Oh dear.
There's a lot of just like, but why though?
But why? Yeah.
But why though?
Yeah.
Like she literally saved the protagonist's butt by kicking an undead dude's butt
Yep.
and did it like perfectly, saved the protagonist, didn't need any of her own saving, like she was doing it. And so now they've got to the next part because of course it's like a 3-part quest. So they're at the next part of the quest and he's like, "No, you sleep now and stay here with my dragon to protect you." She literally saved your butt during the last challenge, sir. You need her. What are you doing?
Being a guy.
You would have died. You said you were about to die. She's trying so hard to have a story.
I feel you may like Anita Blake because she acts like a lot of male protagonists.
I probably would. I'll add it to the reading list.
Yep. So that's great. Hey, you're reading it and you're enjoying it. That's the important part.
Yep.
Yep.
It's so absurd.
So good. All right. On the bright side, I in theory will get distracted. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. I might not get distracted. I might have blown through a bunch of other books in the Anita Blake series.
I suspect you'll have like another, what, 6 books? 5 books?
Oh gosh, maybe.
Well, there's 5 in that series, and then The Sea and the Sky, which you said you were specifically saving, which is the only reason you weren't done yet.
Because they're so good, and I'll never get to hear them for the first time again. And they mean it when they say do it on your headphones. So immersive. So immersive. It's an Audible original, you guys, so it's just included in my Audible membership, so I get to listen to it for free with my membership that I pay for with like the 1 credit I buy a month. I will buy more than 1 credits in a month if I run across things I want to pick up. So that is a thing that happens, and I'm okay with that. So I'm definitely going to be finished that one this week because there's only 3 episodes left. So that's going to happen. I'm going to mark off a row because it's important because I got to do increases. every so often.
Yeah, I'm on the last row before my next increase round, so I guess that means it's time to be done.
Which is good because we're done.
Yeah, I'm almost out of knitting. Guess the podcast is over now.
I'm never going to be out of knitting. Look, I got so much body to go. I have an armhole. And like next to nothing after the armhole.
But hey, there's an armhole.
But there's an armhole. So I have tomorrow to make it down a very long body. We'll see how that goes. Yikes. All right.
Good luck.
Until next week, I'll say I'm Jocelyn.
And I'm Diana.
No matter where your week takes you,
Don't forget to knit.